Fool's Day, Wareham. It is Monday, April 1st. We have a great show here for you. The news headlines, weather report, and today in history. On today's program, we'll be traveling all the way to Bogota in Colombia to take a look behind the Tagua manufacturing. Also, a trip to Tanzania reminds us that education is still a privilege and not a right. And combating opioids addiction in Wareham. We welcome special guest this morning, Dr. Robin Dupree, in the studio. Dr. Dupree has a practice in Wareham offering primary care and office-based addiction treatment. But first, let's take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the Good Morning Wareham set. So stay with us because the weather, traffic, and the news headlines are next. Well, not as warm as it was over the weekend, but the week still looks pretty good. We are going to start off the week this morning with some sunshine, high at 46 degrees, winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, temperatures will drop to 25 degrees. It will be mostly cloudy on Tuesday with high at 47 and low of 37. There is going to be an 80% chance of rain Tuesday night. Expect normal traffic at Route 3 and 495. The weather conditions are good, so safe travels, everyone. And now to the news. There were a few news stories over the week, and here are the headlines. Well, painting the way to a dog park. Last week, the Dog Park Affiliation of Wareham hosted a fundraiser towards a dog park construction. The Paint Your Pet fundraiser held Thursday night at Stone Path Malt guided pet owners to paint a portrait of their beloved pet. The event organizer, Corey Blanchard, believes the recreation area will benefit the animals, their owners, and the greater community. The dog park will be located alongside the Blue Star Memorial Highway and will abut the Cranberry Bogs and Mill Pond. Double gates will separate two play fields for large and small dogs. The recreation area will include a concrete plaza, water fountains, trash receptors, and shade trees, and also parking spots. And moving on to another news, Wareham Fire District will be hosting their annual meeting next week. The Wareham Fire District will host its annual meeting next Monday, April 8th at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium on Viking Drive, alongside funding for collective bargaining and the district stabilization fund. The district is also requesting funding for safety upgrades. The department is looking for more than $500,000 for construction, maintenance work, repairs, new equipment, and a new website. One of presented requests is the $164,000 for a system that will remove diesel exhaust from the air in stations, from the stations and at the maintenance facility. Fire Chief Matt Rowley noted that all of the requests for funding are going to come out of the free cash fund and not Wareham will not be required to increase any taxes. And to our last, closer to our last news of the day, a man throws a dog onto a dumpster. The Wareham Department of Natural Resources have charged a man with cruelty to animals after he threw a dog into a dumpster. On Sunday, March 24th, officers responded to Lakeside Trailer Park at 3030 Cranberry Highway after a report of the incident. James N. Barboni, 28 years old, of Dover, New Hampshire, had thrown the dog in as witnessed by someone nearby. Mr. Barboni did say that he did it because he was tired, had not slept, and the dog was bothering him. He was charged by the Wareham Department of Natural Resources with cruelty to animals and will be arraigned at the Wareham District Court. And just a reminder that tomorrow are the town elections, that is April 2nd, and Wareham has 4 polling locations for its 6 precincts. Precinct 1 at Memorial Town Hall, 54 Marion Road. Precincts 2 and 3 at the Hammond School at 13 Highland Avenue in Onset. And precincts 4 and 5 at Deacon's School, that is 760 Main Street, and precinct 6 located at East Wareham Fire Station at 281 Glen Cherry Road. Those who do not know which precinct they live in, they can find out at the town hall when you visit the clerk's office. The polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Please do go out and cast your vote. And that is all for the news headlines this morning. We'll be right back after this short break. Well, ivory is expensive, and also the lust for ivory is responsible for the mass cruelty and the death of thousands and thousands of elephants. Each year, at least 20,000 African elephants are illegally killed for their tusks. Ivory is prized for its close grain texture, adhesive hardness, and mellow color, and also its pleasing smoothness. It may be painted or bleached and is an excellent material for carving. The truth is, you really do not need to kill elephants in order to get ivory, as it's also known that ivory is used to make jewelry. This morning, we are going to take a look at Artifactos, an organic jewelry company that makes jewelry using fruits and seeds. And it also features jewelry pieces that are made from tagua, seeds with similar properties to ivory. So once again, that you do not need to kill elephants to get ivory quality, because deep inside the rainforest in Colombia grows ivory. Here is Artifactos, a look behind tagua manufacturing.
Hello and welcome. My name is Angela Sanchez, Artifactos founder and CEO. Artifactos is an eco-exotic statement jewelry business that features hand-woven designs by unprivileged women in Latin America. Our boldly colored pieces are made out of 100% recycled, all natural materials like orange peel, and coffee beans. Recently, I traveled back to Bogota with WCTV, following Artefactos and meeting the artisans behind the jewelry I'm wearing. Please join us in this segment as I take you behind the scenes to learn the labor and technique of Artefactos' famous Tawa jewelry and meet Alex, our Artefactos Tawa expert.
From Panama to Peru, stretching through Colombia and Ecuador, in the damp, moist tropical forest, you'll find unique palm trees of 20 to 30 feet high, the source of fruits and nuts known as tagua. Here is a little fun fact for you. Did you know that during World War I and World War II, the buttons on the soldiers' shirts were made out of tagua? During the 1920s, an estimate of 20% of all buttons made in the United States were made from tagua. Before modern-day plastic, tagua was the cheapest material, cheaper than metal or ceramic. During the Golden Age, tagua was at its most popularity. For over 200 years, tagua was an important material for ivory articles such as dominoes, chess pieces, pipes, and even fine art of scrimshaw. The nut itself is the fruit. When first harvested, the fruit is in its watery state, reminiscent of coconut water. After a while, it starts to harden, turning jelly-like. The wonder comes when the nut is left to dry. Depending on the weather, it may take anywhere from weeks to months for the endosperm to turn solid, the same density as elephant ivory, but much more versatile. So we're going to be following Alex.
This is the address that Google gave you, the building that you saw.
No, he's crazy.
He is crazy.
He's not a policeman, he's just crazy. Okay. Hi again, we arrived. This is Alex. Alex is the owner of Export Tawa, and he works in the Tawa industry. And we are here, we are going to show you the process on how a raw nut becomes a beautiful piece of jewelry, just like this ring.
So how rare are these nuts being harvested? And I know you said you're planting more trees, but since now there's a high demand of tagua and is trying to do good, such as replacing ivory, is this putting a toll into the forest?
Cuando uno va a exportar, hay una entidad gubernamental que se llama el DAM.
It is all regulated. So it is like when you bring wood, you have to have permits. So the government makes sure that they are not killing trees. It's all regulated, so they can bring just so many amounts of tagua, or you have to have permits to transport tagua from the Amazon to the big cities. This is basically the raw product.
How many nuts are in the one pineapple?
¿Cuántos de estos vienen en una piña?
Vienen 25, 18, dependiendo de la piña. La piña puede ser así, o puede ser así de grande.
Wow. It could be, depending on how big the pineapple is, but it could go from 18 to 25.
Algunas taguas salen así grandes y otras
Some of them are big and some of them are small.
So how long does it take to clean one?
¿Cuánto se demora limpiando una?
Una aproximadamente 12 horas.
12 hours.
Para quitar la cáscara y que quede blanca, 12 horas. Secado, pintado.
This is where they dye them
Donde se
and
pinta,
dry them.
se saca la pintura. Vamos a hacerlo más fluido. Se saca la pintura. Se seca la anilina.
So this is how they paint
La
them,
pintura se deja ahí.
how they color them or dye them.
El color que queramos.
Like whatever color they want. don't touch it because then they're going to be orange. That's what he said.
Okay.
That's how they dry it. ¿Y por cuánto tiempo?
Se va revolviendo, se deja más por de 10 minutos más o menos.
Like around 10 minutes, they leave it there to get it dry. Oh, so this particular customer wants it to be 3 different colors, one piece.
Entonces vamos a difuminar para que quede tairona, se llama.
Okay, so they are gonna polish it so it looks like, they call it tairona. Let's see what it is. Look at that.
Ok, límpiala ahí con tu, límpiala. Con tu blanco, azul, la cebra natural de la tagua.
So now it is white, blue and brown because it has the natural brown bits.
De ahí bajamos a resinar.
Okay, so now we are going downstairs to apply the special sealant. Be careful, yeah.
Perfectos, pero para las imágenes no.
See, these are like flowers that they make out of tagua.
Ok, después se baja de lo que se hizo arriba y se pone a secar a la sombra, así como están todos los colores.
So after the process upstairs, they bring it down here so it is covered, but they continue the process of drying.
Sacamos más de 60 colores diferentes.
They have over 60 different colors.
Dependiendo lo que el cliente nos pida.
Yeah, it all depends also what the customer requires.
Luego de esto, se deja el secado, se hace el tairona y cuando son pequeñas se cuelgan.
When they
Para
have
resinar.
when they are small, to apply the sealant, they hang them this way. So they apply this
Como las que
sealant
están allá.
one by one.
Esta se resinó una por una, ya está resinada.
See, they did this one by one. They apply the sealant one by one.
So here are some tagua jewelry pieces featured under artifactos. Thank you so much for watching. From Artifactos, I am Angela Sanchez.
Yes, to find out more about Artifactos, as you've seen in the video, you can visit them online at artifactos.com. And now a sober reminder that education is not free. It is a privilege and not a right. Here is Laugh, Play, and Learn. Education is the key to success. But what does this motto really mean to those whose pockets are empty? Though access to education should be a human right, the reality is that we do not exist in a perfect world. That said, as sad as it may sound, access to education still remains as a privilege rather than a right, with finances acting as one of the biggest obstacles preventing people from obtaining it. A community in Bagamoyo, Tanzania, has decided to no longer let money stand between education and the people. The inspired citizens got together and started a free preschool, opening doors to a vulnerable population who necessarily wouldn't be able to have access to education if it wasn't for free.
Shule yetu hii ya Bagamoyo Children Care Association ambayo ni BACA ilianzishwa 2005. Tulianzisha shule hii kwa sababu ya kuguswa, nikiwa mimi pamoja na wenzangu watatu tuliguswa sana na watoto tukiwaona tukipita mitaani, watoto hawaendi shule, na ukiwauliza wazazi wanasema hawana uwezo wa kuwapeleka watoto wao shule, shauri za ada. Kwa hiyo sisi kwa pamoja tukakaa chini tukaona tutafute namna ya kuweza kusaidia. Kwa kitu tulichokifanya mwaka 2005 tulitafuta banda ambalo watu walikuwa wakionyesha zile kanda za video jioni, kwa asubuhi huwa halina shughuli. Kwa hiyo tukaandikisha watoto wa mitaani, watoto ambao wadogo chini ya umri wa miaka kuanzia miaka 3, 4 mpaka 6. Kwa tuliwachukua wale watoto tukipita mitaani kuona kwamba kwa nini watoto hao hawendi shule. Kwa tulipata watoto wengi. Kwa mara kwanza kabisa nakumbuka pata watoto si chini ya 60.
Since 2016, Tanzania has declared free education for primary and secondary school students. However, this privilege does not cover the crucial early childhood education, and this is where BACA tries to fill in the gap. The best part about BACA is that it exposes the children to the English language from early age. Exposure to the English language will aid the students as they further themselves in higher education, where English is the language of instruction. With BACA, the children are out from the streets. They're in a classroom with a teacher discovering the fun in learning. They are finally exercising their right to have an education.
Asubuhi kutoka kwa wazazi wao wanakuja pale kwenye eneo la mabanda lile la makuti, wanasoma mpaka saa 6, saa 7 wanakwenda.
Despite financial struggles, which most times lead to a fallout of teachers as a result of not getting paid, BACA is dreaming of expansion because the need to educate keep on rising. The idea is to build 1 or 2 more classes in order to accommodate the growing number of registered students. And now a short break and we'll be right back. Hello and thank you for being with us this morning. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, traffic, and more information. And now for a moment in history. Let's take a look at where we were today in history. We are going to begin in 1945 when American troops landed in Okinawa during World War II. The 50,000 troops were determined to put pressure on the Japanese and they decided to move to the middle of the island quickly and took 2 Japanese airfields. Americans went on to defeat the Japanese on the island, which helped lead to the VJ Day later that year. That is victory over Japan. And then we are going to go to 1970. We see Richard Nixon, president, then signs legislation that bans cigarettes ads, as research showed the negative effects smoking could have on a person. Legislation was created to solve the public health issues that smoke poses. And now we're gonna go to 1621. We're actually gonna go back. We're gonna see the Pilgrims, the Wampanoags, the Pilgrims and the Wampanoags signing a peace treaty soon after the first meeting. That treaty lasted over 50 years. And then we're gonna go to birthdays as usual. And today somebody's turning 24 years old, and that person is the internet personality Logan Paul. It makes sense that of all his videos online that he was actually born on April Fool's Day. And happy birthday to everyone celebrating their big day today. That is all for the history segment. To learn more cool historical facts, please go online under history.com. And so stay with us. We have the coffee segment is next. But first, let's take a look at our events calendar. morning, Wareham. This is the Good Morning Wareham show, filming live at WCTV studio at 505 Main Street here in Wareham. This is the coffee segment. With me is Dr. Robin Dupree. She is a nursing practitioner, right?
Yes.
Doctor. And she is here this morning to talk about her clinic and their efforts to combat opioid addiction right here in Wareham. Welcome.
Thank you, Queen. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here this morning. So let's get to know you. You said you are a nursing practitioner, right?
Yes, I received my doctorate degree in nursing practice from UMass Dartmouth.
Okay.
And I am also a certified nurse practitioner in adult gero primary care and certified with the AANP. And I also have worked in addiction medicine for the past year, and I decided that I wanted to have a different approach to how treatment is offered to clients in an office-based addiction treatment facility. So in other words, I wanted to go through looking at it from a nursing perspective.
Fantastic, and that comes in the compassionate health care located at 361 Main Street in Wareham.
That's right.
Tell us how long you have been there and the services that you provide.
So I opened the doors actually in October, but I've been there since July of 2018, so not yet quite a year. And I am currently offering services for opioid use disorder and alcohol use disorder and nicotine use disorders. I am offering treatment with naltrexone, both injectables and orally, and I also offer treatment with Suboxone and buprenorphine, both films and tablets and injectables that are now offered. I am also offering a STEP program where if patients do not have health insurance, I will still see them and for fee for service and get them established with health insurance and get them in with a good primary care physician if they decide to seek primary care elsewhere. But I do offer a limited primary care office there.
Okay, lovely. So what I'm hearing is that we have a need in Wareham, and that's an observation that we do have a need here in Wareham, and the services that you do offer fits in quite well. For you, why did you get into this work?
Well, it was a combination of reasons. Personally, I have family members who have struggled with alcohol. And specifically my father, who he passed away in February of 2018, but he was friends with Bill W. If those out there understand that, he continued to seek help with AA, but he was 30 years sober, but he still struggled along the way. And he often talked about the treatments that were available to him, but that was a personal experience where I come from, and I often saw his struggle, and I sympathized and was, compassionate about it. Hence the name of my facility, Compassionate Healthcare.
Compassionate Healthcare. And we do understand that individuals seeking help, seeking to go through detox, these clinics or the treatments do cost a lot of money.
Yes.
And that tends to be one of the many obstacles along their way.
Right. So my goal is, and what I've heard from some of the individuals who are coming to my clinic, is the cost. If they do not have insurance, it's quite expensive for them to get the care that they need, and that's why I have the Step Up program, where they come to me, they tell me their financial situation, and basically I do it for a fee for service, which is $75, which is basically what I would receive per visit from Mass Health, if you will, or another state-funded insurance. So I, offer them that, and I also, offer them segmented individual motivational interviewing while they're with me. So we talk about what their goals are. We talk about what they have plans for in their own personal life. I also, advise them to get therapy monthly or weekly if needed. And I also advise them to seek NA or AA and sponsorship, because these are all important in their recovery. And I allow them to decide how they want to move forward with their treatment and what works best for them in open dialogue.
Fantastic. So when you say about like the fee that you offer, $75 per treatment or per session, how many sessions will one be looking at?
Well, that would be for one session.
Oh, okay. But
so
they keep coming back, so it's like
so what happens with treatment is they need with opioid use disorder. We'll start there, and their treatment with let's just say Suboxone or buprenorphine. They need to be seen every 2 weeks for the first initial phase of treatment. Then after that, it's usually every 28 days that they need to return. And what we do with that visit is we do the motivational interviewing, and we discuss their goals and have they met those goals? Are they seeking therapy? How are they feeling? Do they feel like they might be, that their thinking process might be more geared towards using again, or do they feel stable on the medication? So that's basically why we have them come back every 2 weeks or monthly, to make sure that they're stable.
Okay. So you said something very important prior to our interview, and you said you have a personal mission. That is, you want to prove something to this community.
Well, currently, nurse practitioners in general, even at the doctorate level, are not allowed to provide services under their licensure in Massachusetts. So my goal is to prove that we can open the doors and have it at a nursing level for clients that want to come in and have a different approach to their health care. We can follow the nursing model and the medical model kind of combined in treatment. And in theory, my goal is to eventually be an independent nurse practitioner practicing with the fullest extent of my licensure. So in other words, without having to have a supervising MD that I need to be able to keep the practice open. So I'm independent, but I still have to have a supervising MD who monitors my care.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, I really feel like this is maybe a useful way of saying to the community, nurse practitioners can offer this treatment, and they can provide a service for these individuals that there is a gap in treatment for. So that basically is one of my goals.
So let's dive into addiction itself. Could we define the terminology addiction, what it is?
It's very complex,
Yeah.
and it's patient specific, because we have patients from various backgrounds and various, mental health issues to behavior issues to I accidentally got addicted because I had pain and I liked the sensation of the medication, and it pushes people into a whole other realm of use of drugs and alcohol. So it's hard to put that into one sentence or one perspective, but basically it's a misuse of alcohol, tobacco, or opioids that is harmful to your life, causes criminal activity, causes behaviors that you normally wouldn't have, and also affects your family and your everyday life and health specifically.
When we talk about addiction, what's going on in somebody's mind? Because often people are impatient, people are reluctant to
open themselves up, like let's say like opening a shelter or opening a clinic in their town, because there's this persona, there's this stigma that comes with those battling these addictions.
Well, that's where I think the misconception of stereotyping comes into play. These individuals are just like everyone else. They struggle. They have a lower threshold of being able to stabilize and normalize their lives, and they need assistance to do that. And I've seen people do extremely well. I call it peak and valley. People do well for a period of time. They have something happen in their life. It sets them back into a downward spiral. And at that time, we shouldn't be pulling the plug. We should be offering more services. We shouldn't be giving up on that individual from a failed quit attempt, if you will. We should be supporting them more and not denying them their prescriptions for their buprenorphine. That's where I feel like the treatment needs to be more intensified. If someone's on a 30-day prescription, maybe we need to make it a 7-day prescription and have them come back in sooner, just to monitor them a little more closely. But to pull the plug completely is not the answer for these individuals, despite the fact that they may be using on the street. You need to keep them in the practice setting. You need to keep them coming back, because that's where they need the support. If you just give up on them and set them back into and call them a problem child, then that's when trouble happens, and they get in trouble with the law. They have a higher risk of health problems, which, you know, cause chronic conditions throughout the rest of their lives. And these are young individuals I'm talking about, between 20 and 25, who now have cardiomyopathy and now have valvular problems with their hearts. So it's a fine line as to where we decide who stays and who goes. So you need to keep the support system open continuously.
You're asking for community to be patient and to be compassionate. Somebody will say, why should I care?
Well, you should care because most individuals can look at their family background or setting and say, at one particular point, we had some mental illness in our family, and we had some substance use in our family. We had, you know, no family is perfect. So you need to take these individuals and accept them as if they were family, because these individuals need the support and care that they're not getting on their own. And in my mind, they're not trouble, they just need help.
Yes. Well, there are some, we talked about a very controversial, it's not a bill yet, but it's still a discussion in the state, and that is having the open clinics, having individuals battling addiction to come in, be in a safe setting, administer their drugs in a safe environment. Where do you stand on that issue?
Well, I'm not saying no to that, and I'm not saying yes to that. I sit on the fence because there has to be research involved with this. It has to be closely monitored. I do believe that health outcomes may be improved with such a scenario like that. And I also feel that patients who are seeking treatment may come into centers like that and get the treatment they need, instead of being lost in the mist, so to speak, in the community. In other words, I feel like we will have more individuals seeking care and getting the help that they need.
Okay.
So that may be more of a positive outcome if we have facilities like that. But that's yet to be researched. So.
And you did talk about that. You said we still are missing a lot of research. It may have worked somewhere else, but here in Boston, here in Massachusetts, we haven't done this before, and we need the numbers. We need to know if this actually can work.
Absolutely.
For us.
And I think we can look at models, you know, from other countries that have tried this. I believe that other countries are currently doing this, and we should probably look into their models and see what's effective and what's not effective.
And we're talking about this in such an interesting time across the whole state and in other states too, and that is recreational marijuana, which was seen as a drug for many years and still under the federal government. It's I think a level 2 drug. Is that it has made legal. And here in Wareham, we have recreational marijuana store that's already opened. And the debate is whether this drug is a gateway to other drugs. From your personal experiences and those who come in, what are their stories, and do any of them connect to marijuana? Absolutely.
Well, we have different levels of care, and one of them is that we offer medicine to clients, and they're looking at marijuana or THC and as treatment for different forms of illnesses, if you will. Sleep disorders, they use it for marijuana, for pain control, pain management, but the research is not there. There's no evidence-based practice that says this is what you use for this, and this works without any side effects. So,
the dosage, right?
Exactly.
The dosage. Still treating it as in a recreational social club
what
setting.
might work for you may not work for someone else. Like in standard medicine, we have, medicine that we would provide you under guidelines that we follow, and so we know that that is safe to use for you. We don't know the safety aspects of marijuana yet individually per patient. So we have these clinics now where there are doctors who do offer treatment with medical marijuana under specific guidelines that they follow. And so they monitor the patients over time to see if they are effective in treating what their concerns or medical issues are. So again, it's all needs to be research based. We are practicing as licensed nurse practitioners and licensed medical doctors to provide consistent evidence-based practice treatments. So the caveat with medical marijuana is we don't have all of that evidence-based practice with treating it.
Yes. And speaking of treatment, treatments that are getting a very bad rep from communities, from people. We're looking at methadone treatment. We're looking at buprenorphine treatment.
Buprenorphine?
Yeah.
Buprenorphine is Suboxone.
Okay.
Buprenorphine is the drug. Suboxone, it has two components to it. It has buprenorphine and naltrexone. Both of those medications are in that one tablet or that one film. So Suboxone can be used for treating opioid use disorders. The other, buprenorphine on its own, can also be used to treat opioid use disorder and other pain management needs. You still must abstain from alcohol, any benzodiazepines, or other opioids. So again, it's
people are saying like a drug like methadone, that it is a gateway, or just you are swiping one drug with the other. You're still making people dependent. They can still they don't go through that full detoxation.
Right, and that's true. That statement is true, but it's still a useful medication for the treatment of opioid use disorder for some individuals who need to have that daily monitoring. They have not been able to have and sustain sobriety. So this keeps them from using another drug, the street opioid or the street fentanyl, and basically overdosing. So again, it's all patient specific. You can transition from methadone daily use. You can slowly detox with the help of a medical professional over time and decide that you want to have a medication-free sobriety. You can also transition from methadone to Suboxone if you choose to do that, slowly over time, through either a detox program or with a medical professional that can monitor you to make sure you don't have increased side effects such as withdrawal symptoms, which are can be quite problematic for those individuals. So that's why we have to have it under medical care. But it's not a medication that is quote unquote bad or wrong, and not everyone on methadone is a drug addict either. Some patients receive methadone for pain management, and actually our insurance companies would rather provide that medication for individuals who have chronic pain versus some of the other opioids, because the cost is it's cheaper, basically.
And speaking of a drug that you can take while you have already detoxed or you're going through detoxation, Vivitrol, right, which you offer?
Yes, Vivitrol is very, again, patient-specific. You have to be in remission and off of all of your opioids and alcohol use for a significant period of time. Usually it's 30 to 40 days before we will inject. And you need to have monthly therapy sessions. You need to be going to NA or AA because we want to make sure that you are stable enough to handle a 30-day injection. Because once we inject it, we can't take it away. We can't stop the effects of it. And there is a higher risk of overdose on individuals who are not stable. This is for individuals who are not stable. Once they receive the injectable, they run a higher risk of overdosing, because when they inject the IV heroin or take the opioid, they don't get the initial sensation, and then they inject again. And this is where the respiratory centers of our CNS suddenly stop and shut down, and we have an overdose situation.
So what I'm hearing is that there are different medications out there and treatments, and it's just all individual based at the end of the day. That one thing's not going to work for everybody.
Exactly.
We have 4 minutes into this program, but I would like to touch base on the current lawsuit by our filed against Purdue, and they're the creators of OxyContin. Does the ruling, which I believe happened yesterday, over the weekend or last week, that is, they have to pay this fine, a big sum of money, millions and millions of dollars, to the victims affected by this. Does that shape anything?
Well, I believe there is a ripple effect with that. I do believe that we will see changes in our prescribing of opioids. And the downside to that is that those that do have chronic pain and who have cancer-type pains are going to be affected by that negatively. So in other words, someone who has a chronic pain condition and is receiving opioids as treatment for their chronic pain may suffer the consequences of this.
Are you guys going to be impacted by this ruling at all?
At the clinic?
Yes.
No, I don't prescribe opioids there, so I do prescribe these 3 types of medications, but I don't prescribe opioids. So I
do not know if they're going to regulate the medication or the treatments, whether, to cut down.
That's to be decided, and I don't think so. I think that the goal here is to have better outcomes for these individuals. So these clinics are needed. There's not enough of them, and yet I don't think that is going to affect our treatment. These individuals fall into a specific category of drug addiction, which is different than someone in chronic pain. So we stay away from medications that can cause them to go back into their addictive personalities. So we monitor them very closely. So in that sense, I don't believe it will affect us.
Fantastic. So your clinic is called Compassionate Healthcare, located at 361 Main Street in Wareham. Walk-ins are welcome, right? Or people can call in to make an appointment?
Call to make your appointment, because there is a little brief history taking over the phone. just to find out if you qualify for treatment with us. And we also, can I say the phone number?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our phone number is 774-678. So please call us if you feel that you are in need of treatment. And we have gateways to detoxes. We have gateways to setting you up with Mass Health or insurance if you need it. Please give us a call if you are suffering from any opioid use disorder or alcohol use disorder. That is what we're there for, to treat and help you and support you. So 774-678-7319.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Wareham, and thank you so much to you,
Thank you, Queen.
Dr.
I
Dupree,
appreciate
for
it.
being here this morning. That concludes our Good Morning Wareham show. If you missed us this morning, do not worry, because this episode will re-air this evening at 6 p.m. We'll be back here on Wednesday with, I believe, Skip Waite will be here making the fun birds for you. So thank you for joining us. And if you have any more questions, again, the clinic is called Compassionate Healthcare, located at 361 Main Street in Wareham. Call to find out if you are eligible for the treatments and the services they offer. I am your host, Queen Banda, and I wish you all a wonderful day.